True crime. The Southport Stabbings. Chapter 1. A peaceful town shattered. Southport, a picturesque coastal town in Merseyside, England, was known for its serene beaches, vibrant local businesses, and tight-knit community. It was a place where children could safely ride their bikes, and families enjoyed sunny afternoons by the sea. However, on July 29, 2024, this peaceful image was violently shattered when a mass stabbing at a local dance studio left the town in shock and mourning. The attack occurred at the Heartspace, a beloved dance studio that hosted a Taylor Swift-themed yoga and dance workshop for children aged 6 to 11. The event was meant to be a joyful gathering, full of laughter and music. Instead, it became the site of a tragedy that would forever change the lives of those present and the community at large. Chapter 2. The attack. On that fateful day, 17-year-old Axel Rudakubana entered the studio armed with a kitchen knife. Without warning, he began attacking the children and adults present. Chaos erupted as parents and instructors tried to shield the young participants. Despite their desperate efforts, 3 young girls, Baby King, 6, Elsie Stancombe, 7, and Alice da Silva Aguiar, 9, were fatally wounded. 10 others, including children and 2 adults, were injured in the horrific attack.
The swift response of emergency services and law enforcement prevented further loss of life. Axel Rudakubana was apprehended at the scene without resistance, but the damage he had inflicted was immeasurable.
Chapter 3. The perpetrator. The revelation of Rudakubana's background added another layer of tragedy to the events. Born in the UK to immigrant parents, his early life was marked by troubling behavior and missed opportunities for intervention. He had been expelled from school after bringing a knife to class and had previously attempted a violent rampage with a hockey stick. Between 2019 and 2021, Rudakubana was referred 3 times to the UK's Prevent Counter-Extremism program. However, he was not accepted into the program as he did not exhibit a clear link to any terrorist ideology. Despite these red flags, he continued to spiral, and his interest in violent ideologies grew unchecked. In the weeks leading up to the attack, Rudakubana's online activities revealed his possession of an Al-Qaeda training manual and research on creating ricin, a lethal biological weapon. These discoveries would later play a significant role in the legal proceedings against him. Chapter 4. Disinformation and riots. In the aftermath of the tragedy, misinformation spread rapidly across social media. False claims about Rudakubana's motives and background quickly gained traction, fueled by sensationalist reporting and the absence of verified information. Rumors that the attack was part of a larger extremist plot or linked to his heritage incited anger and fear.
Far-right groups seized the opportunity to exploit the tragedy for their own agendas, using inflammatory posts and doctored images to stoke xenophobia. The online frenzy spilled into the streets, sparking riots in Southport and other towns across the UK. In Southport, protests outside a local mosque escalated into violence, with the building vandalized and several individuals injured in the clashes. The riots spread to other cities, fueled by the same disinformation that had ignited the unrest in Southport. Communities already grappling with grief and fear found themselves further divided by the violence. The social fabric of towns and cities across the UK was tested as anger and mistrust grew.
Chapter 5. The government's response. The UK government acted swiftly to address the chaos and prevent further violence. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer condemned the riots and disinformation in a televised address, calling for unity and resilience in the face of tragedy. A special task force was established to combat the spread of false information online, targeting both individuals and groups responsible for incitement. The government also introduced the Public Safety and Hate Speech Act 2024, a controversial piece of legislation aimed at curbing the spread of hate speech and preventing similar unrest. Key provisions of the act included enhanced monitoring. Social media platforms were required to implement stricter moderation policies and report harmful content to authorities. Stricter penalties. Individuals found guilty of inciting violence or spreading false information with malicious intent faced up to 5 years in prison. Community outreach. Funding was allocated for education campaigns to counteract disinformation and promote digital literacy. Chapter 6. The trial. Axel Rudakubana was charged with 3 counts of murder and 10 counts of attempted murder. He also faced charges under the Biological Weapons Act 1974 and the Terrorism Act 2000 for his possession of ricin and extremist materials. During his trial, prosecutors painted a chilling picture of a young man consumed by violence and hate, with a clear intent to cause harm. On January 20, 2025, Rudakubana pleaded guilty to all charges. 3 days later, he was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 52 years. His lack of remorse throughout the proceedings further underscored the gravity of his crimes. Chapter 7. Healing and Reflection. For Southport, the road to healing was long and fraught with challenges. The families of Bebe, Elsie, and Alice endured unimaginable grief, supported by a community determined to honor their memories. The heart space reopened months later, serving as a symbol of resilience and hope. Nationally, the tragedy sparked a reckoning about the balance between public safety, civil liberties, and the need for comprehensive mental health and counter-extremism strategies. The Southport stabbings became a case study in the importance of early intervention, the dangers of online radicalization, and the resilience of communities in the face of tragedy. Chapter 8. Legacy. The Southport tragedy left scars that would never fully heal, but it also led to meaningful changes in how communities and governments respond to crises. For Southport, it was a story of resilience, a reminder of the strength that emerges when people come together to face adversity.